Today we have a review of the Garmin Approach R10. So a lot of people have been asking for this review. The Garmin R10 comes in at a really good price point at £500. A lot of people who are looking for at-home setups, looking just for some data when they're on the golf course, the Garmin R10 is a brilliant option for this. So let's go ahead, crack open the box, let's see what's inside, what comes included. So let's get this Garmin R10 cracked open. So we've got the packaging, which is really nifty, and see what's inside. In here we have a hard shell case, which is really good for protecting this. Pop it in your golf bag and try this when you're outside at the range. Just keep it handy. It's nice and light and it's going to look after your Garmin. Let's get this unzipped. And what comes included in your Garmin is obviously you get your launch monitor. That's the size of the Garmin. It's really small, really light. At the back you've got your power button and you have your USB charging point. That's all you have on it. And you've got this little magnetic section here. Grab your tripod. That just clicks in and you're ready to go. Really straightforward to set it up. The fact that it's magnetic is really good. It's really strong. It's not going anywhere. So that comes included. You then have a phone tripod. So you've got a phone tripod here, which is good. And you've got a little ball and socket joint which clicks into that tripod so that you can click that onto your golf bag. The good thing about that is you could be on the golf course, you could click, or the driving range, click your phone into your golf bag, or even video your swing. There's so many things that you can do with that. Quite a nifty add-on from Garmin, which is good. And then just your usual, you've got your charger, and then you've got all your other bits and pieces, your instructions and things. So that's what's included in your Garmin box. Really nifty, really quick to get things set up. And let's move on to some numbers. In this product testing, we are just using a bog standard Titleist Pro V1. And the numbers there, that's what we're using with this Garmin R10 review. In another review, we're going to test out the Titleist Pro V1 RCT ball. And that's what Garmin recommend that you use. RCT stands for Radar Capture Technology. That's the ball there. That is the RCT ball. That's what I recommend if you're going to get a Garmin. Invest in some RCT golf balls. They make the spin rates work much, much better. You can refer to the review of the RCT balls with the Garmin just to get some numbers, but I definitely find from 7 iron up, it's more accurate. Definitely worth investing in some of these if you're going to get a Garmin. It's actually quite a quick setup. So all you've got to do is pair it with an iPad or an iPhone, which is just press and hold the button until it turns blue, find it on your settings, and that's you connected. You have to set it up to the Garmin app, which is actually really, really simple. You'll find this just on this side here on the screen. So you go onto the Garmin app, there's lots of different options that you can select. You've got your driving range, you've got your different game modes that you can use, and then it's just good to go. So in terms of how you set up your Garmin, Garmin recommend that you have minimum 8 feet between the ball and any sort of impact screen that you have. Any more than that is recommended for even more accuracy, but 8 feet seems to be the minimum. And then in terms of the recommended distance behind the golf ball, the Garmin are recommending about 7 feet behind the golf ball. So if you look at their website, they do recommend that you have at least 15 feet of space lengthwise between the monitor and whatever you're going to hit into. And they recommend that you have at least 8 feet of clearance, which shouldn't really feature anyway, because if it's not any more than 8 feet high, then you're just going to smash the ceiling with a golf club. So if your room's high enough that you can swing a club, you're good to go. It's the distance that you need behind, so you need at least 15 feet from launch monitor to screen, minimum, okay? To get accurate readings, if you try and compromise that space, the readings might not be quite so good. So that's how far you need to have it. That's how you set this thing up, whether you're on a screen, a net. A lot of my online lessons use this at home, outside. They're on hitting off a mat into a screen. You can set up something like a golf simulator at your house. You can set something up. You can pop it in your golf bag, take it out, hit a drive off a hole. If you just want some data or some numbers to accompany the ball flight, you can whip this out and play around the golf with it. So lots of things you can do. It's very versatile. As long as you've got that space, you're going to get some good readings. So let's give some 50-yard shots a go with the sand wedge. Compare GC3 to Garmin. Let's give it a go. So we've got it set up. We're going to go for a 50-yard wedge shot and we're good to go. Okay, 50 yards. Here we go. Undercooked it. So we've got 36 yards of carry distance on the Garmin, and on the GC3 we have 38 yards. So very similar, 2 yards apart. In terms of spin rate, we have 5,100 on Garmin, 5,049 on GC3. So very, very close for the first shot, which is great. Let's go shot number 2. Let's see if we can get this 50-yard number this time. A little bit closer. So we've got 45 yards on Garmin. We've got 45.1 on GC3. Very close. Spin rate on Garmin, we've got 5,291. Spin rate on the GC3. The spin rate on the GC3 a bit different, 7,125. So carry distance was similar. Quite a big variation in the spin, but that's what you'd expect. I mean, you're talking two completely different budgets. The carry distance is right, so that's the sort of main thing, which is good. Let's go shot number 3 with the sand wedge. Let's get 50. Come on. Oh, it must be close, surely. 46 yards of carry distance on the Garmin, 45.1 on GC3. So again, 0.9 of a difference, nothing at all. Spin rate on the GC3, 7,125. Spin rate on Garmin, 5,600. 2 more to go. Come on, let's get it bang on. 50 yards carry distance. This is it. 40. Come on, 40 yards Garmin, 39 yards GC3, just over 6,500 spin with the GC3, and 4,789 with the Garmin. So again, similar carry distance. Spin rates are a little bit out, but carry distance is pretty close. One more shot. Come on, let's get bang on. 50 yards carry distance is it. Oh, there we go. 50 yards carry distance. GC3 is saying 48.2, so not far away at all. Spin rate with Garmin is 5,323. It's just over 7,000 with the GC3. So their carry distances so far for your wedges, which is what you would be using it for. That's ultimately, if you're at home, you're in a net, you're wanting to just work on some distances. How far does this quarter swing go? How far does this half swing go? That's going to give you some pretty accurate numbers. Numbers that you're going to use and need. Ball flight wise, these were all very, very similar. They all went fairly straight, which I would hope with a wedge. I would try and hit it quite straight. When I go to the longer clubs, it might not be quite as straight. But yeah, carry distances were similar. Spin rates were similar. Carry distances were very, very accurate, number one. Bit of a variation with the spin rates, but again, this is where we could try and talk about. Garmin now do recommend the Titleist RC. So that's the 5 shots done with the sand wedge. Let's do the 5 shots with the 7-iron, find out some numbers with the 7-iron with the Titleist Pro V1. So we've got 7-iron, let's give this a go. Let's see how the ball flights, the spin rates and the carry distance compare. So 7-iron here, let's go. So we've got 168 of carry with the Garmin, 161 with GC3, so 7 yards apart. Spin rate with GC3 is 6,349. Spin rate with the Garmin is 4,793. So that gives us a little explanation of why that ball went further. The GC3 picked up that it had quite a lot of spin. The Garmin picked up that it didn't have quite as much. Ball flight wise, slight draw on GC3. Little bit of a push on Garmin. So slightly different. Let's go again. Shot 2. Felt like pulled it on Garmin 158. Tiny pull on GC3. Similar ball flights. In terms of carry distance, we've got 157 on GC3. We've got 158 on Garmin. So my guess is the spin rates are closer to this shot. Spin rate 6,325 with GC3, and with the Garmin we had 5,030. So the spin rates weren't as far apart on that one. Hence why the carry distance was probably much closer. Oh, that was a bit of a heel strike. That was not very good. 151 Garmin and 150 with GC3, so again very close. Similar ball flights. It was a heel strike. I know that's gone left to right. I can feel it. GC3 is really accurate. It always shows the ball flight that I think I've hit, and Garmin shows the exact same. So very close in that respect. Spin rate 6624 with 6624 with GC3, 5462 with Garmin. So a little bit closer. Shot 4. Let's try and see if we can get one out the middle. Let's get a better strike this time. Come on. Felt like a push. 173 carry distance. 158 with GC3. So 15 yards apart in terms of carry distance. Ball flights, similar. Spin rate with GC3 was 6,525 RPM, and with the Garmin it was 3,500. So quite a big difference in terms of spin rate, and that's why it alters that carry distance. So it's not picking up the spin possibly as good as what it could. Hence why, if you want the best out of this, I think you really need to try and get the RCT golf ball. And again, check out the RCT golf ball review to see the difference in the numbers. Because what I found is with Garmin, I think it's really good. And we're talking 2 different price points, so you can't really compare the 2 side by side. But just to give you an idea of how accurate this is to a really accurate machine, what I've found is when I've used Garmin is, it's very good. It's a really good price point. It's amazing. But what you find is the longer the club, there's a bit of a disparity in the spin rate. So I found with high lofted clubs it's quite accurate, but with a normal ball, as the loft gets lower, the spin rates start to vary a little bit. So that's why we really need to make sure you're maybe putting some markings on the ball, you're getting these RCT balls, because they are definitely more accurate. So we've got one more shot with the 7-iron. Let's see if we can hit a good one, just to finish on a high. Pretty good. Felt like a tiny pull. 160 carry distance. 161 on GC3, so again really accurate, which is good. GC3 had the exact same ball flight, which is great. 6,099 spin with GC3, and we had 5,679 with Garmin. So that's good news. That's much closer. As much as what I've just said before, that is a lot closer. So it shows you that this is, or can be, really accurate. I think it shows the importance that you have to get it set up right. You have to make sure that you've got a decent distance between mat and screen. You've got to make sure that you've got a really good golf ball. If you want to hone in on some distances beyond a 9-iron or 8-iron, if you really want to trust it and want to get really good data, you've got to make sure that you tick all of those boxes. Okay. Final 5 shots. Let's get the driver out, have a dig, get some numbers, and then we'll sum up the review. Final 5 shots. Let's get the big stick out, compare driver with the Pro V1. Let's see what the numbers are. So, first drive, set ourselves up. We are in the zone. We're in the zone. Garmin have us bang on. We are good to go. So, let's give this a good dig. So with the first one we've had 225 carry distance with the Garmin, and then we've got 246 with the GC3, so 20 yards of a difference. I would imagine the spin rates have been a little bit off there. Ball flight wise, the last drive it went 299 total distance, it went right to left. On Garmin it went straight right. Data fields 3,054 spin, when in fact it was 1,825 with GC3. So quite a bit of a difference. This time it's reading a much higher spin, as opposed to with the 7 iron it was reading a much lower spin, which was making the ball go a bit further. So let's try out the next one. Strange. Went 211 and left to right on Garmin, and on GC3 it didn't hit that one good. 207 and it went straight left, so 4 yards less. That one had 4,174 RPM of spin on GC3, 4,349 on Garmin, so the spin was a bit closer there. Next shot, ready to go. That one a bit better. So it's showing 255 carry distance on Garmin, 252 on GC3. Total distance on GC3 was 272 yards. The total distance on Garmin was 275, so that was close. Let's check out the spin rates. Spin rate on Garmin was 1894, and the spin rate with GC3 was 222, so much closer together with that one, which is good to see. We've got a good mix of good strikes and bad strikes, so it's good just to see what exactly happens. There's lots of biased reviews out there. I'm giving you a completely non-biased review of this Garmin. Next shot, let's get this ready. Let's get the ball flight. Ball flights were similar in that previous shot actually. Felt like it went left. 236 carry distance, 242 on GC3, so 6 yards apart in terms of carry distance. Total 260 on Garmin, total with GC3 was 250. Okay, so the spin on GC3 was 2,099. The spin rate on Garmin was 2,186. So pretty close there. That was really close. Probably the closest it's been with driver so far, which is good. Okay, final drive. Let's hit a good one. It's not been a good day in terms of ball striking, which is actually a good. It's good to show you. It's good to see not just what the good strikes do. How well does it pick up off-centre hits? How do the spin rates change when it's not quite as good of a strike? Come on, let's try and see if we can get a good one here. So, felt like I hit a good one there. 262 carry distance with the R10. 262 with GC3. Very close. 282 yards total distance with GC3 and 272 with the Garmin. So maybe a little bit further apart with total distance. In terms of spin, we got a spin reading of 2879 with Garmin, and we got 2499 with GC3. So what I think of the Garmin, I think the Garmin is an amazing tool. If it's going to be your first launch monitor, 100% get it. I think it's a great price point, £500. It's the best, cheapest one in terms of anything under £700. Garmin is by far the best I've used. There are some things that you just need to know about. Obviously, it gets carry distance right quite a lot compared to a machine at the higher level. Compared to a launch monitor at a much greater price. So definitely has that in its favour. The price point is excellent. It's really portable. It's tiny. You can put it in your golf bag, which is great. I mean, and actually outside it does get better readings. Outside it probably has the chance to get better readings. It's going to track that ball flight for a bit longer. And the ball flight itself was actually quite similar. Got it wrong a couple of times, but it was normally when the spin rate didn't pick up quite so well. So what I would say is about the Garmin, I think it's a great price point. If it's your first launch monitor, or you're trying to set something up at home on a budget, 100% it's a good option. It's a good option. It gives you the chance to simulate golf, go on a driving range, work on some distances. I think if you can get the RCT ball, which if you check out the next video, there'll be an RCT ball review, and that shows you how the spin rates do get better when you're using that, and it is recommended by Garmin. TrackMan 4 recommend it for indoor. It's an expensive ball, but it stops those, well, you saw in this video, there was some bigger gaps at times. Sometimes it was super accurate, and then sometimes there was a slightly bigger disparity, a slightly bigger gap in the spin rates. So that just reduces that chance if you do something like getting the RCT ball. So I would highly recommend Garmin. It's not, if you're an absolute spin geek, if you want to try and get the perfect numbers, it's maybe not perfect, but at that price point, it's an absolute winner, in my opinion. So if you've liked this video, please do comment below if you've got anything that you'd like me to review. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to get any notifications of new and upcoming videos, and thanks for watching.